Hello and welcome to Hotkeys Portugal, where autumn's now in full swing. We had a storm pass through this week and had to work around it. We're also having to adapt to some realities of outdoor living. We make running repairs as the storms find the weaker parts of our buildings, and take some time out with friends to do some out-of-season tourism in Coimbra. Once it dried up, Phil was back to working with the big wooden posts that'll support the outdoor kitchen roof, and the metal brackets that'll hold them in place. He was also working with some new materials. Wasn't entirely successful, but more about that later. We've had some lovely weather at times, and whilst it often stays warm enough for shorts and t-shirts, it can change quite quickly and turn very wet, and it's certainly starting to get cooler overnight too. It's been absolutely bucketing it down all afternoon, totally contrary to the forecast that said it was going to dry up at 2 o'clock, and ended up having to do some emergency running repairs on the awning over the outdoor kitchen, which was turning into a bit of a pond. Phil came up with an amazing plan to put up a couple of sheets of OSB and rig it up with an acro prop and generally sort it all out. But it seems to be doing the trick, and one very soggy husband later, but he's got a smile on his face. That's a good one. Well, the garden will like the rain, even if we don't. Fortunately, my voice is improving, and thanks for all your good wishes. Phil's just been enjoying the peace and quiet for a change. First though, let's rewind a few days, when we woke up to a very grey morning after the rain.
So after making the coffee this morning, I thought I'd share with you a little, it's not a problem, but it's a little situation that we have with the outdoor kitchen. And we're having to increasingly put everything into sealed containers, plastic boxes, glass jars and so on. I went to fill up the coffee from my in my coffee pot. I've got a pack that was in the old kitchen, in the old house. So we use it as a bit of a storeroom. And I picked it up. Normally I sort of put about half into the pot, put the other half away and save for later. Picked it up and thought, it feels a bit light. And then discovered that it is riddled with holes. So our rodent friends, if you can see the state of that, our rodent friends have been at my coffee. I didn't think they went for coffee. Anyway, so just evidence that we do have to take care and make sure everything's put away in a properly sealed container. It's part of life with the outdoor kitchen, I guess. So facing up to a few challenges this morning with the off-grid lifestyle. Rained quite hard yesterday, and the canopy that we had to rig up over the outdoor kitchen, that's actually survived very well. The OSB's gone in there nicely and more robust than it's been for a while. But of course, with the rain comes grey skies, and the grey skies mean the solar doesn't charge up terribly well. So I woke up this morning, the EcoFlow up in the tiny house has discharged itself completely, so that's dead flat. Down here we've got the Bluetti, which has stood up overnight. It's done well. It's down to about 10% charge, and even in the grey skies that we've got, there's a little bit of PV coming through. It was about 50 watts the last time I looked. So chances are, and again against my better judgment, probably going to need to get the generator out just to put a bit of a boost in, because the forecast is to stay wet and overcast probably for today and tomorrow. Good sunny weekend coming up, but not for the next couple of days. So to have any power, light, fridge, etc., going to need to put the Jenny on, which again, haven't run it for a few months. So that, again, fingers crossed that comes up and works okay. One of the other things, the little Wi-Fi modem was connected to the EcoFlow. That's now discharged, so I've got to plug that into the Bluetti to get some Wi-Fi back so we can be connected to the outside world. And then just, you know, because all these things come in groups, had a bit of a problem with my blood sugar sensor last night. They have a sort of 2 week life cycle, so I bring stock with me from the UK when I come. Put a new one on and it failed to start. Didn't work. So you can buy them here in Portugal. I get them on prescription in the UK. You can buy them here in Portugal. So I'm going to take a run down to the pharmacy in the town and see if they've got any in stock. And if they have, get a couple. One to use and one as a backup. But you know, it's all the little things that get in the way of making progress. There's so much that I want to do. So much that between us we can be doing on the farm, but as soon as the rain comes in, it just sort of dampens things down a little bit, and you start narrowing the expectations, narrowing the plans, and sort of just get on with it. And I think we've got a couple of days of that. Looking forward to the weekend when we can finish off the tasks, get the posts and everything going up for the proper roof. But for now, it's take shelter, charge up the power, and let's see what the rest of the day brings. Yeah, I brought the Wi-Fi router outside so we get the best 5G signal we can get. Now that we're undercover, it'll stay dry, so that's good. You know, each bit is a step forward.
Just come out to see how my drain's getting on, seeing as it's getting its first real test with a good old downpour. The top half near the tiny house that was really well cleared is draining well. It's getting a bit slower further down. So it is still moving downhill, but not perhaps as fast as I'd like. So I hadn't properly swept it out, the last bits of soil, so maybe that's what I'm going to have to do. Oh, whoops. Got a bit of a puddle here. Guess I need to lower down the last few feet here so it can drain onto the olive tree. Made a bit of a pond. Okay, partly successful. Not as good as it could be. Needs more work.
So new ground, we've got this morning 11% on the Bluetti. It's getting 320 watts ish of solar, but I'd rather that was topped up a little bit if we are going to have a full house overnight. So coming across, I've plugged in the AC power input into the top socket. That is now down into my trusty multi-way mains extender. which runs out across in the reverse direction to normal up to the Adega where the generator is sat. And another advantage of the, shall we say, slightly open plan Adega is that it's nicely ventilated to keep the generator somewhere in the dry whilst it's running, because it is still raining outside. So there we go, plugged in and everything set, so ready to go.
At this point, we admitted defeat at the house and headed off to Coimbra to meet up with Jeff and Leslie again. They'd spent a few days in the city and came up with a pub, walk, cafe tour that sounded just right for a day like this. Because they had a fair here when Jeff came in, yeah.
A bear? There's a bear. Oh, fair. There's a bear here.
Typical, isn't it? The sun came out again just after we got back.
So back on the woodworking for the outdoor kitchen roof, and update on a few of the situations, a few of the things that have gone on in the last couple of days. One of them is that the suppliers haven't yet received the second pair of bases, which means we can't do the whole thing. We can only put two of the legs up. So there's a sort of improvised two-leg arch going to get built, which I'll then find a way of putting an improvised OSB sort of cover over it so that we can cover it up when we're not here. So, you know, you make the best of the situation as you go. Some of the other things that were going on over the last few days, as you can see, it's now stopped raining. We've got a bit of sunshine, a bit of blue sky, which is great. The generator on the recharging the Bluetti, for some reason, didn't work. And it was giving me 230 volts, but it was giving me 0 watts of charge power. So I've reached out to Bluetti. I'm waiting for a reply on that. If anybody knows anything that might be causing that, please let me know, because the whole point of having the generator in the background was for those emergency situations. And we had one, you know, we ran the batteries down and it didn't work. So I've really got to figure out how we can fix that. We were fortunate, the panels we've got on the Bluetti particularly are quite good and efficient, quite modern, powerful ones. So we had a very low-key day yesterday, in and amongst all the rain, and we got back this morning, or got up this morning, and it was okay. We sort of managed with enough battery power, and then lunchtime, skies cleared, we're back to sunshine, and I've looked at it a minute ago, 90% on the Bluetti, 80% on the EcoFlow, so we're back in good shape. Last but not least, got myself a sensor from the pharmacy in Poyash, and so the world is getting back to normal, which is a bit of a relief really. So back to cutting, shaping and making the 2 pieces of timber for the uprights, and off on the next phase of a slightly reduced programme. Armed and extremely dangerous.
Yeah, well, it's the last bit of the drain.
Leave them there.
We're coating the bottoms of the posts with some bitumen paint to give a bit of extra protection against the damp.
So whilst I've been playing around with timber, Jane had been doing a bit more landscaping by filling in some of the trench that the water pipe had gone through. This is the part we can see from our dining room and across the garden of the tiny house. And what a job she's done. It looks brilliant now. She's filled in a big section of the trench and we can see across to the boundary, a glimpse of what it will look like long term. So I'm setting out the bases for the 2 uprights that are going to go furthest away from the wall. So there's one in the corner there next to the utility room, and I'm going to fit an upright and a crossbeam, and then the other upright in this corner. So that will give me the first pair of uprights, which will allow me to sling something down for a temporary roof. The metal bases, we still don't have the other two, so it's rather scheduled the work pattern. So going to fit these two in. So the game plan has been, I spin back around. To get set to that corner, I put one of the metal posts in there as a base plate, then got this board square with the back wall to a point where I could now get that one laid down, and that one marks up. This one then comes across. That base is in the right position, so I can mark that one for drilling as well. And with that, we're all set. So that's 8, all cut to 120. So a quick run off to the file. Make sure I got a startable nut, yeah. Excellent. That one straight on. Getting these ones down. That other one, which is the one that went a bit wrong in the corner, I might disc that down. These are fine.
What's wrong with it?
It's too long. It didn't go in as far because the resin was going off. It didn't go in as far as I'd like it to. It'll be it's a strong fitting. I've just got a bit more.
You just get the angle grinder and take the top off.
I'll just take the top off it with the grinder, yeah. These three are good to go. There we go.
Excellent.
And so let's smear the resin on the bottom. Oh dear me. Right. I'll deal with that one in a moment. This one's a bit tighter for space than the other one. There we go. Yes. Get quite a good torque on that when you need to. Well, that was fun. It was the first time I'd used that resin stuff in concrete, so what did I learn? Well, it really works, and I was surprised how hard I could tighten the nuts on the studs. But, and it's a big but, it cures so quickly you can't hang around like I did. I think you can get some spare nozzles and replace them between squirts so the two parts stay separate in the tube. I'll take a look at that and try to be better organised when I do the other two bases. More lessons to learn along the way, I guess. Otherwise, it was a bit of an odd week, with the weather having more influence than we expected. But progress on the kitchen was good, and I look forward to setting the posts in place next week. I'll definitely need Jane's help for that, because they're really quite heavy and very awkward to shift around. And with that, we'll say goodbye for this week. Thanks for joining us, and please remember to like and subscribe to see more episodes and see how we get on with the rest of the kitchen roof. Bye for now.